Hello, and thank you once again for joining us here on India on 99.94. I'm your host, Nikesh Rugani, journalist, broadcaster and commentator based in the UK. And my co-host, as you can see, Sarah Waris. Of Wisden out in India. Sarah, whereabouts are you now, and what's the weather like just before we kick off? Because we're in the middle of what is supposedly a heat wave here in the UK. I know Indians probably wouldn't consider this a heat wave, but it's pretty uncomfortable right now. Whereabouts are you? What's it like?
I'm in Lucknow. Hi, Nikesh. I'm in Lucknow. It's in the mid
Phew.
40s for the last 2-3 months. Expected to be well over 30 till at least
Okay.
October.
I might just stop
So,
right there then,
yeah.
because we're sort of in the mid 30s at the moment, which is a massive heat wave for the UK. We've been up to sort of 38 at times here in our first.
That's a
Yeah, but
luxury here.
we haven't got the infrastructure, you see. We've got a massive problem in the UK. We're not prepared for the snow in the winter. When the snow comes, everything comes to a standstill. Whole country stops for several days or whatever it might be. Same in a heat wave. We just haven't got the infrastructure. We don't expect it. We expect sort of 25, 27 max, maybe the odd 1 or 2 days touching 30, but late 30s is something we're unprepared for. The sale of sort of paddling pools and things like that are through the roof at the moment here in the UK as people just try and cool off. There's no air conditioning in homes and things like that. So we are struggling at the moment, but yeah,
Yeah, air
that's the
conditioning
key.
helps.
Yeah,
It's on literally
I find
24/7
myself just
here.
driving around in my car
So,
just to get the
yeah.
AC or going to the local supermarket or the shops or whatever it might be just to get some light relief from the hot weather. But anyway, enough about me moaning. We're here
Correct.
on our third official episode, and we've got something really interesting to kick off the show this week. You would have seen the news. Trent Boult, New Zealander, former Mumbai Indian, played for various IPL franchises across his time, the Rajasthan Royals, etc., etc. He's 33 years old, KKR,
KKR.
of course. I knew you'd mention that. 33 years old. He's played 78 Test matches. He's coming towards the end of his career. He's only played 93 ODIs, which actually surprised me when I looked up his stats. World Cup runner-up in that format, in the T20Is format as well, runner-up in both World Cups, World Test Championship winner as well. So he's been right at the peak of New Zealand's cricketing prowess in recent years. He's been such a key member of that side across all three formats. And he's probably got at least 3 years in the tank, even as a fast bowler as well. I mean, you look at Jimmy Anderson, he's going on until he's 40. Trent Boult could do the same. He's a fit guy. He's doing well, still in the wickets, but he's decided to step away from his New Zealand central contract. And that could potentially signal the last that we've seen of him turning out for the Black Caps. And I know this is an Indian cricket podcast, but we'll get to the Indian link in just a moment. First and foremost, are you surprised by his decision at 33?
I am surprised, but it's not unexpected. Like in the future, you can expect after Ben Stokes' ODI retirement, there was a lot of talks on the future of international cricket, ODI uh, cricket, so to say. But with Trent Boult now stepping away to possibly play in more domestic leagues, you can expect more such players to do so. It's not really a surprise. So, kind of, you expected this to happen and it's just taking
Well,
shape
here's the deal,
now.
right? So we mentioned he plays in the IPL and he's got so many other options now, and more so going forward, to just play franchise cricket all year round. I mean, we had a situation in England, just to link it in as well, where Andrew Flintoff, towards the end of his career, was talking about potentially, I think for the last year of his career, actually didn't opt into a central contract with England, but his career didn't go on as long as he would have liked. He retired slightly prematurely because of injuries and fitness issues and things like that, and just opportunities elsewhere outside of cricket, which he's gone on to be really successful at, TV personality here in the UK and around the world with Top Gear and various franchises. That was slightly different, but he sort of mentioned, the fact that he could almost become a freelance cricketer in this modern world of T20 franchise competitions going on across the world. And this is what is happening now by the looks of it. This could be the first of many. I mean, Bolt has got the option of the IPL, potentially the PSL, the CPL, the Big Bash, the UAE League, or the South Africa League. I mean, potentially he could be playing 12 months of cricket without having a central contract and making a lot more money as well. And at 33, coming towards the end of his career, got a young family, might get injured, that might end his career prematurely as well. You I suppose, got to make as much money as you can when you can, right?
Yeah. Obviously, it's like the players are getting more aware of their value. And it's just a case of demand. They are in demand and they know that. And it's all about securing their life, uh, especially from countries that don't pay a lot. It's about just choosing what offers you more money for lesser amount of, probably less amount of hard work, which is something that you would also do and I would also do. So it's kind of wrong to blame these cricketers saying that they are choosing club over country, because it's something that every working profession would want to do, like earn more money for you know lesser amount of hard work. So it's not something which Bolt, he's got criticism for it, but it's something which a lot more players would do in the
And India
future.
seems to be at the heart of all of this, doesn't it? This move towards extending franchise competitions, extending the length of the current competitions as well. There's talk of the IPL eventually expanding the men's IPL to 12 teams, and that will, potentially be a 3-month competition, and it'll just keep getting bigger and bigger if they can make more money out of it and if there's enough interest in it. In India, primarily because of the audience of 1.5 billion people, I mean, you don't really need anybody outside of India watching it or caring about it beyond, maybe watching the finals or whatever. But as long as the Indian audience is interested, there's so much money to be made. The players are all contracted to the BCCI in India. They control the IPL, and they can force the players' hands and say, look, we're going to have a 4-month competition, a 5-month competition, and we're going to have less international cricket going on in the future. Take it or leave it. Take your contract, or we'll find somebody else, because there's a long queue of players willing to take those opportunities. And then you look at the ownership model as well. I mean, you just got to look at the South Africa League and the UAE League, which both begin early next year, both clash with each other as well. And some of the franchise owners in India don't care about the conflicts as well. I mean, Mumbai Indians have got a franchise in each competition. Chennai Super Kings in South Africa, as well as Lucknow, Sunrisers, Hyderabad, Rajasthan Royals, Delhi Capitals, all their owners have got franchises in South Africa. All of those franchises, in fact, have been taken by Indians. And then the UAE as well, massive, most of them are owned by current IPL franchises there as well. So it's the Indians really making
Caribbean
that
Premier
move, isn't
League
it?
as well.
Making the move towards, just
Yeah.
having franchise cricket all year round.
Even in the CPL, like we've already seen Rajasthan Royals
Trinbago Knight
and
Riders.
Knight Riders are there. I would say that. Uh, can you repeat
Yeah,
your
so I mean,
question
it's
for
the
one second?
Indians making the move, isn't it, towards this franchise cricket all year round. The Indian owners from the IPL, buying up franchises around the world. They're really at the driving force of this, aren't they? And it's obviously all to do with audience numbers, brand, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. The ICC has given the IPL a dedicated window, and it won't be a surprise if in the future each of these leagues has its own window. So, what will happen is the international players will be available to play these leagues, the South African League, even the CPL, the UAE League, which will increase the demand for these leagues even more. So it's, yeah, the IPL is driving it forward. The IPL owners are driving it forward. And I won't be surprised if the ICC in the next few years just say, okay, this is the period where the CSA T20 league is being held and there'll be no international cricket then. So it's not only about IPL being, taking over the world of global T20 leagues. Very soon, these other leagues will also, have a name of their own, so to say, and will attract the biggest of bigger superstars in the
When you
world of
compare it to
cricket.
football, cricket, let's do that for a second, because
Yeah.
look, you look at the IPL owners and they're obsessed with Premier League football, the success that the Premier League has had. And it's only really Premier League football in England that is bigger than the IPL as a global brand in terms of, actually it's the NFL in America that's got a bigger TV rights deal. In fact, the TV rights for the IPL are worth more than the English Premier League as well. But as a product, probably globally, the Premier League is the probably the only one which is bigger than the IPL and franchise cricket the way it's going. If they were to create some sort of model where, I suppose, club cricket, you could call it in inverted commas, franchise cricket basically, just playing for these city-based clubs, franchises, whatever you want to call them, is the way forward, particularly in T20 cricket. And there's talk of first-class cricket as well coming under that franchise model, certainly here in England. And, it could happen in India. That wouldn't be a great surprise as well. So just that move towards, we'll prioritise this, we'll make all the money off the T20 leagues around the world, and we'll have the odd international competition. There's no harm in having a T20 World Cup or a 50-over World Cup. Arguably 50 overs, could be the one to go if anything was, but then certainly a World Test Championship and maybe, some sort of knockout competition in terms of the World Test Championship, just a short form over a couple of months, 5 or 6 sides involved, whoever still cares about Test cricket in the future. I mean, we're heading into very different territory at the moment. It works in football because you've got your club football, you have your odd international competition, don't you, from time to time? You've got your FIFA World Cup, you've got your Euros in Europe, and maybe the Copa America in South America are the two biggest ones, AFCON as well in Africa. So you've got your once every 2, 3, 4 years, whatever it is. I mean, the Copa America, that's a rule unto its own. They do it whenever they feel like it. There's no set pattern, but it's usually once every couple of years. FIFA World Cup every 4 years, Euros every 4 years. Could we see the same thing in cricket where we just have a T20 World Cup once every 2 years maybe, and then maybe a World Test Championship every 2 years, and maybe only 4, 5, 6 sides really care about Test cricket and are involved in that? Are we heading into that football territory?
I would say so, because even if one top player from every team goes the Trent Boult way, international cricket, like the standard of international cricket, is going to decline. So Indians are not allowed to play in T20 leagues currently, which I think might change, because obviously someone like Mumbai Indians, the owner, they might want an Indian to play in the Cricket South Africa League. You can't be you can expect like Indians are allowed to play in these leagues in the future, and BCCI might have to give permission for that. So if that is the case, if top players, if Rohit Sharma, I don't see how long Rohit Sharma will continue playing cricket, international cricket. He's already 35, 36. If Bumrah, for example, wants to play in these leagues, BCCI will have to allow it, because there's obviously the IPL owner connection, and it's a very vast network now. So international cricket will, like, as you said, it will go the football way. Um, and I just had a question to you. Like, do you see Indian players being involved in this league in the near future, probably the next year or so? Or do you think it's still some time away? Because Indians are not allowed
Yeah.
currently.
Well,
So,
Indian men certainly are. Indian women
yeah,
are, but that's
yeah.
because
Women
they
aren't,
haven't really
men's
provided
aren't.
them
Yeah.
with any, sustainable way to make a really good living over in India. And there's no women's IPL as we currently speak, although there's more reports coming out that definitely will happen next year. But we're in the absence of that. That's the reason why the women are allowed to go and play in countries like Australia and England in the 100 at the moment, which there's only 3 taking part in the 100. There were 5 last season as well. But once there is a women's IPL, are they going to be able to stop them? Probably not, because the precedent's been set now. And it will go the same way with men. I don't know if it's going to be in the next year or so, but you're right. You could see Jasprit Bumrah on a year-round contract with the Mumbai Indians franchise, or the MI franchise, as they would call it around the world, MI Cape Town, whatever it is, MI Emirates, I think it is in the UAE League. They might buy one up in America, and it's just going to go on. And Bumrah could have a year-round contract to play T20s for the MI franchise. He might not have an Indian cricket contract. There might not be any more central contracts. You might just get selected once every couple of years if you're good enough to play at a World Cup. And if it is going to go completely down the football model, that's how it'll be. You don't see Harry Kane with an England football central contract, do you? Because if he's not in form or whatever it might be, he's not going to get picked for England. So there's no guarantees with that. With international cricket, it's basically you're playing 85-90% of the time. You're basically playing friendlies, aren't you? If you are going to compare it to football, you're playing friendlies, bilateral series, unless you're maybe in the World Test Championship. But in white ball cricket, bilateral series, they're all friendlies, aren't they? That's all they are, if you look at it like that. Yes, they make money. Yes, they get the crowds in. But so could a franchise competition as well. And that's where it's going to be really interesting to see how many players are on board with this, and how many, if you throw millions at them, are just going to get on board with it, even if they're not initially. And I suppose it comes down to how much passion is there to play for your country. Well, there might be great passion, but you might then argue that, well, we can do it in World Cups, and that's, I'm trying to win something for my country there on the biggest stage. That's where I'll show my passion towards my country. The rest of the time, I'm loyal to MI or RR or KKR or whoever it might be, whichever franchise you're a part of around the world. It's very, very interesting times, it would just be really interesting. What do you think? I mean, let's go back to sort of just post-war. I mean, pre-war, pre-Indian independence, it was kind of like your CK Naidus, your Vizzies, and people like that who were the Indian Test captains, and they were basically, just rich boys who got the job because of that's who they were, right? They weren't necessarily any good at being a captain or whatever, but maybe your Lala Amarnaths and Vijay Hazares, Tiger Pataudis, all these great captains of India in the past, Test captains as well, so passionate about playing for their country. What do you think they would make of this current situation? And not just them, but past cricketers who've put their all into playing for India, playing for that badge with so much pride, seeing the Indian flag waving in the stadium, and nothing means more in the world to them than that. They weren't paid very well. They did it for the passion, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yes, we talk about some of the more well-off cricketers in the olden days getting into the Test side because of their wealth, their status. But, beyond that a little bit, there were so many cricketers who just played for pride. They hardly got paid anything, even up until the 80s.
I agree, but you spoke about the players. There's also a point about the fans, like the purists of the game, as you say. We have been used to seeing supporting India, chanting "Chak De India" whenever they win. So do you think fans, obviously the players are shifting towards that because of the monetary benefits? What do you think as a fan, like, does that interest a fan, a normal watcher of the game? For example, if I am watching, I support KKR, but after a point during the IPL, I was just like, it's too much cricket. It's too much of franchise cricket. I just want to support India. I want Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma in the same team and not against each other. Like, after a point, I was just like, get international cricket back on.
That's what we're used to, though. That's because we're used to seeing them in
Yeah.
the same side for India, and it's so good when they
Yeah.
are. And you're right, the IPL drags on, doesn't it, for
Yeah.
quite a while, and it's probably going to drag on even longer. And I should know, I have to commentate on it every year, which is great for the BBC, and I'm really grateful for that opportunity. But you do get to a certain point in the season where Doesn't
Yeah.
matter how exciting that particular match is, it's just too much. It's just
Yeah.
game after game,
Oh,
and sometimes they're meaningless
yeah.
towards the end of the group stage. Sometimes they're not. There's a lot riding on them, but it's interesting at the
Yeah.
beginning, isn't it? Because all the new teams, new makeups of teams, especially after a mega auction like this time around, and then the playoffs or just before the playoffs when teams are vying for those final couple of spots, that's when it's really interesting. In the middle, I completely
Yeah.
understand. Look, when it comes to fans, look, I grew up as a passionate fan of the Indian cricket team. I remember when I was taking my GCSEs, which, are a big deal. They're sort of exams you take when you're 16 here, and you've got to do well to then go on and choose your A levels and further your education, basically. I remember during that period, India were playing Australia in that 2001 series, and I would wake up at, I wouldn't just wake up at 3:30, I think it was, in the morning when the matches started. There was a build-up hour as well. So I'd wake up at 2:30 just to watch all the build-up of each day throughout that three-match series, even when India were getting hammered for 1.5 tests during that series. And, it's the VVS Lakshman series, it's the Harbhajan Singh series, it's
Yeah.
magical, magical memories which I will hold in my heart forever. And I don't think I'd wake up at 2:30 in the morning to watch MI Emirates
Yeah.
versus whoever. Do you know what I mean? For me, that's not a thing. I
Yeah.
mean, there's something about Test cricket for a start, but just international cricket, just following Team India
Yeah.
and the lengths you'd go to do that. I just don't think it's there with franchise cricket yet. But we're talking about us, aren't we? We're from a different generation now. I mean, we're not old, but we're not kids. We're not 8, 9, 10 just getting into cricket. Maybe it's going to be different in the future because, I've got an 8-year-old daughter and she watches bits of the 100. She was watching the Commonwealth Games. Yeah, she likes watching India. She likes watching England. But if you put like the Trent Rockets in front of her or the Northern Superchargers, funky names, or even Mumbai Indians, whatever in America, MI New York or whoever it might be in the future, these are, they've got bright kits, they've got good branding. You sort of, you might sway towards them. You might think, I support a club in football. I'm going to support a club in cricket as well, and a franchise in cricket, and RR is the one for me, or whoever it might be. It's different. I
Yeah.
can't speak for the young kids, and it's a shame we're not young kids anymore. But for us, it will always be international cricket. But maybe that's just because of the way we've always been used to it. I mean, how would you feel if it was just international cricket once every couple of years? Would it be heartbreak for you? Would be for me.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that because I remember in 2011 World Cup, I was still in school. I had my board exams then. Not board exams, my final exams. And I told my mother, I'm not feeling well. And I just have a very bad stomach ache and I can't go. I can't give the exam. So my mother had to go to the school, to the principal, and get a leave, like get me excused that I'll miss the exam. I just told her a few years ago that I was perfectly fine. I
You
missed the
confessed.
World Cup. I missed the exam because it was India versus West Indies in the World Cup in 2011. So I won't do that for any other franchise cricket. Uh, it's interesting that you also mentioned, fans, as a fan, you support a team because you have an emotional connect to them. I follow TKR because of the KKR connection. But it's not that I follow them passionately. I won't have that emotion. I won't be like, okay, this team is so useless and whatever. Uh, which is why think that in the future, the value of cricketers will increase because if a Dhoni plays for a team, Indians will not have a connection with Cape Town, for example. But if a Dhoni is playing for Cape Town, Indians will support Cape Town. So I think in the future, these cricketers and their superstardom will increase even more. Uh, and their brand value will increase even more, which will in turn help them getting more financially stable, which will be another reason for them to not play international cricket. So it's just, a big
MS you mentioned there,
procession,
right?
like one
MS
after the
could
other.
could potentially
Yeah.
play till he's like 50, 55. If this goes ahead, right, you could see it, couldn't you? I mean,
Yeah.
even if he ends up being, a wicket keeper captain, and even if his reflexes do slow down eventually,
Yeah.
just a non-playing captain, or he'll be there, he'll be involved, won't he? If wherever CSK go around the world with these franchises, in the future, he's going to be
Yeah.
involved. He's either going to be up in the dressing room as a mentor, as a non-playing captain, whatever you want to call it. I mean, this could extend his career by a long, long time. And I suppose, look, he's the man. It's his side in 2007 against all the odds, winning that T20 World Cup, or World T20 as it was called then. Final against Pakistan, the Srisant catch, Joginder Sharma. We remember it well. That was what eventually, got this love affair going with India and T20s. They didn't care. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of the big boys opted out of that World Cup, didn't they? And worked out really well for India in the end. But it wasn't until that
Yeah.
point that anybody cared, was it?
Yeah. And you go back to those days, and I just think of the Champions League then, the
Bring
T20
it back.
Champions
Bring it
League,
back.
which went on for 2-3 years, then was scrapped because there was no
Do you know? I think that
interest.
would
Now is
work
the
well
perfect
now,
time. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
landscape has changed. In the old days, look, it was an Indian sort of idea for the Champions League. So you had to have what? I think
Indians
was it three
dominating.
Indian
Yeah.
franchises taking part, and there were two from the T20 Blast in England, which is quite a big number given the standard of competition back in those
I think
days.
there were
Two
two
from
from
Australia, but
Australia
in
too,
those days they were pretty
I think.
strong.
Yeah.
The Australian franchises. You could argue now the BBL has gone down a different route, and I know they're trying to change that up. But look, all the most of the top Australians are not available for most of the BBL because they're playing international cricket during that time. But I think it would work well now. What would you do? I mean, you could even have 100 franchise. Yeah, you'd pay T20 cricket, but you could have one of the 100 franchises from England. You could have a CPL team. You
Yeah.
could have a PSL team. You could have a BBL team, or maybe one or two. South African T20. It's the quality is increasing in franchise competitions around the world.
It'll just be tough to, if a UAE team qualifies, UAE, KKR and KKR both qualify, it's going to be very tough to have, who's going to play? Will Russell
Yeah.
play for KKR, or will he play
Well,
for
that's one
some other
issue that they've
team?
got to contend with as well. But yeah, no, it was good. I mean, the
Yeah.
the trophy, the trophy initially didn't look that great, and then they brought out this one which looked like the Football Champions League trophy with the big ears, the handles on the side as well. So no, it was fantastic memories, and Dhoni won that a couple of times as well. What hasn't he won, right, in his career? Got a funny Dhoni story
Yeah.
actually, just before we finish this episode. Look, I've been lucky enough to interview most of the greatest players that India have had that are still alive, and that recently played and are still playing. Some of them. Dhoni, as we all know, is very elusive with giving interviews and his time and all those
Yeah.
sorts of things. And look, I've never pushed for it. The BBC, who I've worked for the majority of my career, have never really sort of pushed for it and sort of invaded his space in that kind of way. But there was an incident at the 2019 Cricket World Cup where I came across Mrs. Dhoni. And I didn't mean to come across her. Me and my colleague from the BBC were taking a break in between commentary stints. And somebody who works for the BCCI, who shall be not named on this podcast, invited us to the BCCI box to go and chill out and just have a little rest, have a couple of drinks, and just enjoy a nice view of the game. So it was just a little bit along from where our commentary boxes were. Edgbaston, this was. I think it was England, India. I think that game where they wore the orange kits. I'm pretty sure it was that game.
Orange jersey.
And, it was a nice sunny day in Birmingham, looking forward to it. So we got to the box and the guy from the BCCI said, look, sorry, guys, Sachin's just come into the box and there's security and there's like 100 people in there. So we're not allowed anyone who's non-BCCI in the box at the moment. But we've also got this box next door. Go and have a seat in there, help yourselves to drinks. It's our box. It's a second BCCI box, and I'll come and chat to you guys in a few minutes. So we went to, the windows are open for the box. There's some seating just in front of the indoor bit. But we just sat inside because the windows were open, the air was coming in, it was nice. We went to the fridge, got ourselves a beer each. We were sitting at the table, and we didn't really notice who was sitting on the seats outside. There were only 2 or 3 people. And then all of a sudden, this lady gets up from her seat to get herself another drink. And she comes over, gives us a dirty look, and then we realised it's actually Dhoni. She went to the fridge, got herself a drink, looked at us again, gave us a really awkward look, went and sat down, and then 2 minutes later, she must have had a word to the guys next to her. And this bloke just got up and started shouting the odds, "What are you doing in my box? This is my box." And we're like, "All right, sorry, we'll go." But the guy from the BCCI told us, and he just wouldn't let us explain. He was talking over us, shouting over us. And I mean, luckily, we knew the security at Edgbaston, and this fella was causing a few. I think he'd had a few drinks, and he was obviously on a power trip. But anyway, that's my closest encounter with a Dhoni, and yeah, it was quite funny looking back at it at Edgbaston that time. But I don't think that's going to really put me in MS's good books if he hears
That's so
that.
memorable.
But anyway, I
Yeah.
wasn't doing anything wrong. I was told to go and sit in a box, and it was just a misunderstanding. But anyway, and just quickly, Sarah, before we go, India have announced their squad for the Asia Cup. Announced it a few days ago,
Yep.
obviously, as we're recording this. First chance for us to talk about it. What do you make of it? It's a pretty strong-looking squad on paper. They've obviously backed the big boys, in inverted commas, but are the big boys, the likes of Virat Kohli and all these guys coming back, are they the right choices for the Asia Cup? Because apart from Bumrah, who's injured, Harsha Patel, who's injured, is pretty much what they feel is their strongest T20 squad ahead of the T20 World Cup, which is fast approaching in Australia. And this will probably be a little bit of a dress rehearsal for that competition. Are they just going to go with backing what they've always backed, and Kohli comes back in at number 3, KL comes in at the top of the order, and out go some of the young guns?
That's what it seems. My first episode, I had said Virat Kohli shouldn't be in the T20I side, and I stand by it. India have made so much of progression, like, and changed their batting approach, so to say. But with KL Rahul, Virat Kohli coming in the top 3, you wonder, like, is the batting approach again going to change? Because, or what will, like, you don't know because you've not played. KL Rahul hasn't played a T20I this year, so it's very tough to say what will happen. But seeing the past performances, you wonder, like, can they match up to the new batting standards of the Indian team right now? It's not doubting their abilities, but knowing what has happened, like, and their form, you wonder. The team is the same. I don't think Avish Khan will make it to Australia. Uh, Shami is not in contention anymore. He's been told by the selectors that he's no longer in the
I think that's a
T20I
good
plans.
move. I mean,
Uh,
look, he's still a great ODI bowler for as long as that format does continue,
yeah.
and I certainly hope it does, and Test bowler as well. So he's getting older, goes for a few runs at the end of T20 matches as well. So that's a fair decision. I think he'll accept that as well.
Ravi Bishnoi is an interesting pick, but what I really like is the selection of Deepak Huda. He's fills in so many gaps. He can bat in the middle order, he can open, he can send in a few overs if anyone is injured, or India just want one spinner and want to increase their batting depth. So he just adds, like, too many areas he fills. So I really like the selection of Deepak Huda. It's just like his career has turned around. Like, as we spoke earlier, ever since the incident with Krunal Pandya, he's just like had a great run, which and I'm very happy, like, for him, because he's done
Yeah,
very well for
certainly
India.
a very useful cricketer to have in any squad. Bowls a bit as well, of course, bats well, fields well, and has done well in the IPL. And whenever he's been given an opportunity at India level too. We'll, of course, discuss more ahead of the Asia Cup as we approach the tournament. India touring Zimbabwe soon as well. The cricket is absolute non-stop.
Deepak Chahar is not
Yes.
there, which is very
Deepak
interesting.
Chahar, well, I mean, he was a favourite for a couple of years and no longer in contention. Didn't sort of, he's had a few injury problems, hasn't really.
Probably they'll test him in the Zimbabwe series and see.
We'll see, but there's so much competition, isn't there? In terms of those bowling spots as well. We'll discuss that in a lot more detail as we approach the Asia Cup, of course, and look ahead to the Zimbabwe series on future episodes. But for now, look, Sarah, I think I'm going to probably melt if I sit here too much longer. It's very hot here in the UK at the moment. I'm going to go and have a cold shower or something. So thank you very much for listening.
Drive around in your car.
Drive around in the car, yeah. Stick
Drive
the
around
AC
in
on
your car.
for a bit, or go to the local supermarket just to cool down. So thank you very much for listening once again this week to India on 99.94. We'll be back soon.